different than that.
How do you feel about this week?
Excited. It's an opportunity to play against a good football team. I've never been there, but I've heard it's an unbelievable atmosphere, so our guys are really excited. Believe myself.
You know Mike Riley from past experience coaching Pac-12 and so on. What are you sort of expecting from that? Is this a Mike Riley kind of team that you saw at Oregon State, or is this a Mike Riley, I guess, 2.0 or something?
Sure. I mean, well, first off, I got a lot of respect for Coach Riley, and the reason he is where he is today is because he's been very successful, and he has a reputation of being very fundamentally sound, and his kids play hard. And so we know we got our work cut out for us, but again, it's a big challenge. We're excited about it.
So how do you think?
Really good. I mean, I think their stats speak for themselves. They're leading the country in creating turnovers, but they're sound, very well coached and disciplined. They run to the ball, so it's a huge challenge for us.
Would you describe them as a pretty physical defense, especially up front?
No question, no question. Our guys are looking forward to the challenge. They've lost, I think, a few D linemen from the year before, but the guys they got in there now are pretty good. I think they've got some experience at linebacker and secondary, and both the back seven and the front four are making a lot of plays for them.
How do you feel you match up with them? Your line against their D line. I mean, do you like that matchup?
And we'll see. I like the opportunity. I think our offensive line is getting better and better, but it's going to be a huge challenge. This will be the best defensive line that we've played against.
How do you replicate 90,000 fans at practice in that kind of environment?
Well, you can't. The biggest thing is, we try to practice with crowd noise all year long, and music. So I think our record on the road kind of speaks for itself. We've had success, and it hasn't really phased us going into other stadiums just because the way we practice. Our system's built on silence as far as being able to communicate without talking, and we practice that a ton. But again, I know it's still different, but we've been in big stadiums before and done okay.
Your redshirt freshman linemen have not been in big stadiums before like that. How's this week been for them, and what do you tell them?
Sure. I've noticed those guys each week are, first off, getting a lot better. I think they're just excited to play. The best way to block out distractions is just completely focus on your assignment. And if you can truly play the game one play at a time, all that other stuff doesn't matter. And so it's pretty easy. I mean, just focus on your assignment, play that play, and regardless of how that play goes, you got to be able to refocus on the next play. And if you can truly do that, then the outside stuff shouldn't be an issue.
Hey, Coach, with the tempo, did you see the improvement you wanted to see from game 1 to game 2?
We definitely improved. Yeah, we always think we can get better. I think it was a combination thing. I think when you get some first downs, it's easier to get the tempo going. And I think, our guys embraced, hey, that's something we need to get better at. And our quarterback's doing a really good job of pushing the tempo.
Yesterday, Dakota Prukop said that it was the best Tuesday practice of the season so far. What made yesterday's practice so special?
Anytime you have a good practice, it's focus. Because anytime you're playing a new opponent, you change a little bit. Not a ton, but you change a little bit. And so half the battle is understanding the new stuff, the new changes, and being able to go out and execute at full speed. And so our guys did a good job of that.
Do you look at this like it's one of the first real challenges for Oregon this year?
It was definitely a challenge. Virginia's not a bad football team. I thought that was going to be a challenge as well. But yeah, this is definitely a challenge. And, anytime you get to play a good opponent, you get excited. And I think from here on out, we're going to have a lot of good opponents. So it's, you got to treat it one game at a time, one practice at a time. This will be a huge test for us.
Farrell was saying Banker, when he was at OSU, threw a lot of just weird stuff at you that they typically didn't show a lot. Do you kind of anticipate them throwing a lot of stuff that they haven't shown yet?
Yeah, I mean, that's very hard to say. You don't know. I mean, all you can do is kind of prepare for what you've seen. And a big part of, preparation is figuring out what you do well, and being able to execute regardless of what the opponent is doing, what you do well. And that's kind of what we're focusing on. But again, just trying to show as many looks as you can. But you can't prepare for the unknown, So again, we're worried more about how can we get better as a football team.
What about the Nebraska defense has allowed them to be so good at creating turnovers in the early part of the season?
Well, I think they do a good job with their pass rush, and they've got very athletic guys in the back seven that run around and hit guys, and that forces turnovers. And I think their secondary does a good job of reading the quarterback. And yeah, they've been impressive.
Is everything silent count on Saturday then?
Yeah, we have the ability to go silent count. We've worked both, and that's kind of, we'll see as the game goes what we need to do. We're prepared for if we can't hear. The neat thing about the way we practice, I can't picture our music. I can barely hear myself think with how loud our music is at practice sometimes. So that's got to help a little bit.
What have you seen from Tony Brooks-James week 1 to week 2? What's his role in the team and how perhaps has he improved?
Very consistent, and every time he gets in there, he does something good, as well as on special teams. He's playing and lights out. The more plays that he plays and does well, it makes Royce Freeman a better player because it keeps him fresh and it keeps him healthy. So very excited about his progress.
Royce said in the offseason that he wanted to go for some longer runs. That's kind of what he wanted to have happen with him personally this year. We saw a little bit of that. What's next for him? I mean, is there something else that you guys as coaches want him to work on, or is he pretty complete as he is?
Well, the best thing about Royce is he always thinks he can play better. That's why he's so good. And that's the way he practices. And there's little details that a fan might not see as far as carrying out a run fake, having the right leverage on a block. Everyone sees the big runs. They are amazing. But yeah, he wants to be a complete better. He's a complete player. He catches the ball as good as our receivers. He always wants to get better at route running. So there's always something you can get better at, and he knows it better than we do. And he's harder on himself than we are. So that's why he's so good.
The Dakota Proof Cop kind of late option type of stuff that was ran last week, is that something that we're going to see throughout the season?
If it works, yeah. Yeah, he's getting more and more comfortable with anytime we're going to read somebody in a scheme of reacting faster to what the read tells him to do, and then being able to execute the rest of the play. Sometimes a read might tell you to keep it, and then knowing where your pitch option is or your throw option. And the big part of being good at that is understanding it. And he's just getting better and better and better and more comfortable. So that's just really, when something like that happens, just good decision making at a quarterback.
Have you seen him change his game at all a little bit, maybe spreading out the ball a little more, given that he has all the playmakers he has here that he necessarily didn't have?
Well, I think he's doing a great job of playing within himself. I told him that from the day he got here. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. You just have to be able to function in the system, make good decisions, and lead. And don't do anything other than that, and we'll be fine. And he's been doing that. And he knows he's got great playmakers around him, so that makes him better. But I think just not forcing things. One thing I'm really proud of him is he has not turned the ball over. So not forcing things and taking what the defense gives us.
You guys script most of your game plan before you even get there. In the first few drives, do you script it in a way, knowing you're going into a tough environment and trying just to get everyone comfortable and into a rhythm?
Well, we want to come out. We're always, whether it's a home game or whether it's a away game, do what we think we do well. And so we're always going to do that. I think, especially in our first couple drives, you're looking to see kind of what you're getting. And so we'll do that, but defenses, they change too. So sometimes you think you're getting something, and the next thing they give you something different. So the biggest thing is coming out and executing what we do well, and taking care of what we can control.
Prukop's percentages are high. His interceptions are low. He hasn't thrown one, like you said. Is he maybe farther along than you maybe anticipated week 2 with so many new faces around him as well?
I think so. I was really excited when we got him in the recruiting process. I knew he was going to be a good player, but you just never know till they actually get here. And his improvement from spring till now is been very impressive. And our quarterback coach deserves a lot of credit for that too, Coach Yost, because he's done a good job, and Dakota embraces the coaching. And so yeah, for what numbers he's put up, and more importantly, just making good decisions. We don't really worry about numbers. We've been very happy.
You surprised the offense is clicking this well this early with so many new faces altogether?
No, we have high expectations, and there's like any game or any time you have a game, there's things you do well and there's things you can improve on. We're still in that thing, and it's always going to be that way whether we win or if we don't win. You're still going to, there's things you got to get better at. The key to continually get better is understanding that. Hey, we can always be a little bit better, and there's something that we can do and not being complacent. And so that's what we try to do as coaches, and that's our players are embracing that.
You have these young redshirt offensive linemen, but it seems like the seniors are getting more penalties on the offensive line. Is that frustrating, or encouraging that the young guys are not getting the big penalties?
I think we've had a couple young guys get penalties, haven't we? Maybe not as many. Yeah,
Not
but
as many, though.
well,
I mean,
yeah.
Cameron had
Anytime
kind
that's penalty improvement's a big focus for us. We talk about when you have that's something that we can control. It has nothing to do with our opponent. And so a penalty is when you have that, it's a miss in discipline. And so we want to control what we can control. We can control having 11 guys on the field, lining up right, and executing. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. With good effort. But yeah, when you have a penalty right there, it just everything else falls apart. And so we're constantly stressing that. And there's no room for any penalties.
Penalties been the main killer for you guys this season.
They have been drive killers, yeah. Penalties, it's a combination every once in a while. The other team's on scholarship too, and sometimes not having the right technique, or maybe just they have a good play or make a good play. Sometimes that stuff happens, and we can live with that. But it's the stuff that we can control that we have to do a good job of controlling that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, no problem. No problem.